Ladies and gentlemen, after a brief hiatus and respite, Didactic JD and Crypto Lingo are back for another edition of the Crypto Chronicles. And Crypto, you've been doing well?
Yes, I have. What about you?
I'm doing okay, staying busy. What are we going to talk about today in our time together? What you got on the menu for us?
So there was a little bit of a hiccup, I guess, in the Ethereum network with the different clients coming to consensus, and I don't know. We don't know the end result yet, but we just kind of want to go over client diversity. It's a important topic, and I guess now with the little hiccup that we had, it's probably going to be the most important thing that everybody's talking about for a while. So we're just going to give a nice overview of the topic.
Great. Well, that's when I knew that you knew what you were talking about when you were explaining consensus versus execution clients. So I'm interested in what you have to say on that. So shall we transition over? You had this web page that you brought up. Tell me about client diversity. How does that tie into consensus, the consensus layer?
So this is the Ethereum.org website, and client diversity is basically when you run an Ethereum node, you get to pick which software you want to run. There's multiple different kinds of software that you can run that will run the Ethereum blockchain.
Okay,
And so when you're setting it up, if you scroll down to the bottom of this page, there's like a circle graph.
sure. And let me take a look at that. So we have execution clients on the left. Some of these names are familiar to me. Besu is a name that I've come upon. Geth I hear used, and I don't know what is Geth. Help me out with that.
That's just the original software that I guess created that they run Ethereum on.
Okay, I'm seeing a huge
And
percentage. I guess people that are we're looking at people that use this software.
yep, so when they are setting up their nodes, they 83, well, so this website shows 83%, and we'll go through a couple different websites and they all have a little bit, their stats vary a little bit,
Slight
but
variation. Okay.
yep.
And then on the
Here,
right, oh sorry.
yeah, here it shows that 83% of people choose to run Geth for the execution client. And then it shows the rest here. Far, long ways away is Open Ethereum at 8.1%.
Yeah,
And
dramatic decrease. And
yep,
Teth, is that Tether? Is that what we're is that what that's an abbreviation?
no,
Okay.
I'm not sure what that is, but it's definitely not Tether.
Okay. Tether. That's just a name that I've heard in the universe. Was that a token? Was that a blockchain project? I can't remember. Or no,
Yeah, I don't know.
I think okay. I think it is a if it's what I remember, it may be one of those stable coins that I think CoffeeZilla talked a little bit about it fairly recently. If it's what I remember, I'll stop there.
I think that it is definitely a stable coin, but I don't know much
Okay.
about it.
All right. Well, there's a CoffeeZilla episode on it that is pretty enlightening and it's gives a little bit of an explanation if you want to get caught up. Maybe I can put a link to it in our description. So, and then on the right we have consensus clients, and it looks like there's a little bit more,
A little bit more diversity.
slightly, but still, Prism, huge majority, overwhelming two thirds of the client diversity is Prism, and then we see Teku, familiar name, and I guess I've heard of Nimbus. So these are software providers, I guess.
Yep.
Okay.
Basically, these are like the different options that you can pick to run Ethereum.
Are
I guess
they
they call them clients,
Gotcha. Are they
different clients.
are these companies exclusive to the Ethereum network, or do they work on other blockchains as well?
That's a good question. I believe they would be all Ethereum only, but I there might be one that works for multiple.
Yeah,
I don't know that actually.
that's no problem. I was just a little bit curious about that. Okay, so what
I
do we?
bet there is somebody out there that tries to make a client for, multiple different blockchains. So I'm sure there's one of them that does that.
So what? So diversity is exactly what we're looking at with these graphs. When we're talking about how many actors, how many clients there are, and then how the share of usage is distributed. That's what we're talking about when we say client diversity.
Yep.
And what is the relationship between network health and diversity? What can we say from that?
So the little hiccup that we had yesterday was basically two of these clients, or two or more, I guess, didn't. There was something going on between them where they didn't finalize. So one had different information,
I heard
or
Prism mentioned, and I think that was the only. I may have heard Lighthouse, but I know that I heard Prism mentioned.
okay. So what if it was Prism and it looks like they have just under 2/3 of the network, but if say it didn't sound like this was a very big problem, but it could be someday we could have like a disagreement where Prism basically starts their own chain or hard fork, I think is
Oh,
what would happen because everybody disagrees and because they have 2/3 of the network, they just decide that their bug or whatever was correct. And so when if we don't have a client that has 2/3 of the network, that won't happen. So
ah,
we need to
greater
right now what we
diversity
need to
prevents
do
that.
right makes
So,
our network more healthy.
gotcha.
And because then somebody, one of these clients can have a little hiccup and then everybody else can say, no, you were wrong. You need to re, I think, reorg maybe. I'm not, this is where it would help to have Superfizz with us right now.
Yeah.
He knows a lot more of the vocabulary.
Superfizz, if you're watching, we need you. We want you on the show. We want your expertise and help.
Well, just anybody. I mean, if there's anybody that
Yes,
we,
this is an all call from the Crypto Chronicles to get any and anyone who's an enthusiast and wants to educate what will hopefully be the masses, but right now it's probably mom and grandma and anybody
yeah,
else who's willing to watch this. But yeah, we would love to have some people come and share their expertise with us. But nonetheless, we forge onward and try to make some sense out of this really challenging niche ourselves. Well, I mean, you're talking about the potential for hard forks breaking off in the circle that has more diversity than the one on the left. I don't know, is it, we're talking about two different creatures. You equated one to me, you equated one to the lawyer, and one versus the judge. I'm assuming that the judge is the execution layer in the metaphor, and the lawyer is the consensus layer. Am I remembering that correctly?
no, I haven't heard that one.
Oh, I thought that's
Uh,
I thought that's what we talked about in Denver. Maybe we weren't talking about consensus and execution layers. Maybe we were talking about another topic. Maybe, was it L2 versus L3? I can't remember. But nonetheless, the point I'm making is we have even less diversity in the graph on the left than we do in the one
yep.
on the right. So, but the glitch from yesterday occurred with consensus rather than execution. Does this absence or reduced diversity in the execution client graph suggest a potential for a glitch or something, a hiccup like what happened yesterday?
So yesterday, I guess I'm talking about worst case scenario, like if there was something really bad
Gotcha.
that happened that the clients weren't agreeing on, that's what would happen, or that's what could happen in the worst case scenario with this ratio.
Right. From what I understand, the finalization issue on May 11th really wasn't even that big of a deal, but just that the network is so reliable and healthy 99.99% of the time, just even a small issue like that got a lot of attention just because of how rare something like that on the network is.
Yeah, it was basically like a nice little warning shot for everybody to kind of diversify a little bit and hopefully get the network to be a lot more healthy. We're lucky that it wasn't something big, and now it's a good topic for us to bring up and tell everybody about. That way we can hopefully help spread it out a little bit.
Well, you're certainly helping me understand what they mean when they talk about the importance of client diversity. And we've talked about it before just with staking providers. You do see, with Lido having the lion's share of the staking provider mini pool type situation and trying to grow that diversity and spread it out. And
Realistically, I mean, there's some hardcore people that even are running this off of Tesla and the, or not Tesla, Starlink internet, and because even internet providers are decentralization.
oh,
We need to decentralize. If we were all on Spectrum and Spectrum said we don't like crypto and they shut us off.
oh, yeah. Well, that would be so. And okay, so Spectrum must be what. Yeah, and you're right. And there is a monopolization of SPs, at least where I am. There's not really much diversity at all. There's pretty much a singular provider. You got to get pretty creative if you're going to work around that. So I see the point that you're making, that you don't want to have that much control over the traffic because yeah, on a whim, that's a very very good point. It's just, diversity in a lot of contexts seems to be important.
And that's why I really like Ethereum, because they not only, I mean, they have diversity in every area with all of these clients, and that's what makes the network a lot more secure. That way, if one has a little bug, like we had something yesterday, we still don't know the full story yet, but there was some little hiccup, and we're still going because of how the Ethereum network is built. So
Let's see. Was there anything else about the client diversity page, or do we want to move on to your mainnet statistics Ethernodes site?
all these pages are definitely good to read for everybody. We don't, we can't sit here and read the page for everybody, but this client diversity is definitely a good page to read. It's not very long.
Cool. And I can put all those links, like I said, I can put them in the description for the video when it posts. So yeah, that's good.
And that,
Moving over, I have this Ethereum mainnet statistics.
okay, yeah, so this is just another site that shows all kinds of different diversification graphs. And the first tab there is clients, I think that you're on.
Okay.
And it shows, site shows 72% for Geth, and then it's just kind of broken out into a pie chart. And then you
Okay.
can click through the tabs and go by countries.
And
United
okay.
States has 44%.
Okay, we've looked at this. Is this maybe the same chart that we've looked at before? Boy, well, yeah, you see this concentration,
Yep.
and people talk about. I don't know what's going on with this server near Washington D.C., but a huge. It's some sort of, and I've heard it mentioned. It's some sort of warehouse, super computer, super server warehouse just outside of D.C. And then, yeah, a little blip in Ohio, and then something in the middle of right outside of Wichita. I don't know if that's Warren Buffett's crypto compound or what's going on there. Yeah, and then
Probably.
Then you see, okay, you see a few hubs in Germany, the Netherlands, France, England, Ireland. Nothing. Anything near Singapore? Yeah, we got some action in Singapore. And then, I'm surprised that I'm not seeing anything in Australia or New Zealand showing up.
There's definitely some over there for sure.
Yeah, there's got to be. Okay, and then a lot of activity in South Korea and Japan that I had missed. And yeah, all right, we already talked about Singapore. But yeah, you
And
did.
then they even show like the next tab up top is you can go to OS is operating system. So that shows like Linux and Windows and Mac.
So Linux overwhelming.
Yep. And Linux is open source. It's the most secure. That's another reason why I like Ethereum. So like before Ethereum, computer operating systems, Linux runs banks and schools and all of like the most
Publicly
secure
accessible.
websites.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't. So yeah, we're talking about an OS system. Mm, both.
Most people use Windows or Mac,
Okay.
like civilians, but Linux is used by most of the websites that we use, like
Ah.
Amazon or you know, I think Facebook's probably built on their own language, but different websites that we use, most of them are built on Linux, and Linux was the open source software. Windows is private, Mac is private, but Linux is open source, and the whole world is built on Linux. And Ethereum's kind of the same way. Ethereum's open source, and anybody can build on it.
Okay. So when we see OS, that's standing for operating system though, not open source, right? Just I know that's
Operating system.
okay. That's what I initially thought, and then I was afraid that I was misinterpreting that. Okay. Tabbing over to the right, network types, and okay, this we have this broken down into cellular,
That doesn't
business.
show, yeah, that doesn't show like spectrum and stuff like that, but
Gotcha.
residential spectrums in residential somewhere.
Okay. Oh, and that's the internet service provider that you were talking about.
Yep, these are the different hosting, residential, business, cellular. I would assume Starlink is probably cellular. I don't know since it's a satellite, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
not sure.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not familiar. That sounds like some sort of Elon Musk thing. Is that
That is, yeah, that's Elon. You don't know what Starlink is?
vaguely? I mean, no, honestly, that's it's just a word that I've heard. Feel free to enlighten me.
So he has a company with like 5,000 satellites that are orbiting the Earth, and they basically cover the world in internet. And you can order a satellite to put on your roof and get internet. You can put it on your RV and get internet all over the road. You
Oh, wow.
can, their Teslas get Starlink internet everywhere, all over the world. That's when like the Ukraine war happened and they were
Oh,
bombing
okay.
the internet stuff, and Elon Musk was like sending Starlink satellites. So he sent extra over to Ukraine to support like all the civilians load so that they could access.
Okay. Well, conceptually, that's pretty cool. And but yeah, people worry about its effect on diversification.
Well, so he doesn't have very much diversification yet because he's so brand new.
Okay.
We probably could use a lot more people. It looks like there's 16 nodes are using cellular internet.
Okay. So not a lot.
Not a
Which
lot.
I mean, so what is hosting? What constitutes hosting? What does that mean?
Not sure.
Let's see if I can click on it and if it tells us. So,
Says an internet protocol specification, the term host means any computer that has full two-way access to other computers on the internet. So
okay. Huh.
I wonder, hmm,
Well, I
that
see
kind of,
Amazon is mentioned.
let's see, what did you click on there? I didn't see that.
I clicked on the hyperlink for host, and
Oh, nice.
it sort of gives us a breakdown. I mean, Google Cloud I see mentioned.
Oh, so this is cloud hosting. So you can go on Amazon and just like you used to be able to like buy a server and have a website, you can buy hosting and have Amazon run your node for you.
Oh,
So that way, it's basically just you can set it
out.
up to be run on your own computer or you can pay Amazon to run it.
Okay, and that seems to be. If let me back it up. That's the biggest option. The majority of people, twice as many as residential, use a hosting provider. Yeah, over half.
So let me see. That kind of sounds network types. So what happens when you click on residential? Yeah, this is all the different CenturyLink and Verizon, Spectrum, Comcast. Comcast is the biggest, then Spectrum. This is actually pretty diverse, but
Yeah, compared to
so
what
that
what
definitely
else we've
sounds
seen.
like so that definitely sounds like internet providers, those companies. And then
Oh
when you
yeah.
click on hosting, that's cloud. So that's not internet. I mean, maybe they do the full package, I guess, when you run your they probably manage the internet and everything, I guess.
ISPS, Internet Service Providing Service. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Internet service provider. Yeah,
Oh, and then it's plural providers. I guess that's what the last S is. I'm guessing.
maybe.
Okay, but yeah, from what we've seen so far, the residential breakdown is the most diverse of any graphic that we've looked at so far today. When the largest share is still under 25%, you don't see that degree of diversity in a lot of what services that we've looked at. Business? Okay,
Yep,
business.
so definitely the important thing that like the glitch that happened, what's important is the client diversity that we started off talking about. This is just
Right.
we're just continuing on the topic and talking about more diversity things, but what's important right now
Consensus
is
and execution.
definitely yes. I
Gotcha.
just wanted to throw that out there, but we can definitely keep going on all the different stuff.
Valid point. Let me see what that. I'm going to switch over back to the two of us and pull up that third link that you gave us. Execution diversity info. And
Let's see. Okay.
so we have Ethereum execution client diversity.
Yeah, so right there, that second paragraph, what is the supermajority client risk is what I was kind of talking about in the beginning. A
Okay.
client software that is used by more than two-thirds of all active validators is considered a supermajority client. It has the capability to finalize the chain without the agreement of other clients. A consensus bug within such a client would cause catastrophic results, such as a network split, loss of funds, and reputation damage. Geth is such a client right now.
Ooh.
Detailed explanations can be found at the end of this page. So this is just kind of another good page to read about diversity, talks about the importance of it and why we need to
Yeah, you did your
diversify.
homework on this. This is okay, and the term that I guess we were looking for is supermajority. Yeah, and we've seen that over and over again, and the need to address that with greater diversity.
Yep, we could go to the next site. These are just a couple different
Cool.
resources at this point.
All right.
We've kind of
And
gone over most of everything, I think.
awesome. All right. So we've got rated.network overview. And
This is a pretty big website with all kinds of different stats that people can look at. But yeah, you could definitely.
see if I can get it a little bit. All right. And there we go. A little bit more visible. Network overview. This is the Ethereum network, I presume, when it says
Yep.
network. Okay.
This kind of shows some different things like participation rate, network APR,
What's an APR?
broken. That is your yield when you're staking.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So this site basically is all kind of the same stuff. It shows some diversity stats and a bunch of other stats, but it shows some different numbers,
Oh, okay.
different percentages.
Rated.net in my interview with Hill Dobby last week about his dashboard, Ethereum dashboard. He had a lot of positive things to say about this website. He wanted to give a shout out to rated.net.
Yep, definitely. There's a lot you could go through here for sure. The one that I sent you the link to down at the bottom, there's another graph for client diversity again that shows Prism at 40% and Lighthouse at 40%. Pretty
Right.
much
Okay.
right neck and neck.
Well, and these are okay, consensus clients. There we go. And
Yep.
this is definitely a lot more balanced than the first one we looked at.
Yep. So this is just another page with different stats. I don't know who's the most accurate. I bet somebody knows. I guess we could throw that. The ETH Staker Discord is a definitely probably a good place for us to ask
Yeah,
questions
it's a
too.
good question. Which site, if one were to guess, or how can how do you validate or prove that the information is that you're providing is correct on one of these? It's a
Yep.
good question.
Somebody knows which one's probably the most up to date, I'm sure.
Cool. Well, that's a pretty good rundown. Thank you for doing your homework on the presentation delivery on the importance of diversity for the health of the network. This was super informative and understandable. So,
Yeah, hopefully we get some new guys that are interested in staking and now they know that it's important to pick different, if I didn't know anything and I was setting up a node and I saw 92% of or 80% of people were using one client, I would definitely click on that one because I would think that it would be the most safe, right? If
yeah.
everybody was using that one, I
Oh,
would be like,
so yeah, you've got to avoid that happening and keep everybody running to one. And ETH stakers, I mean, I've done a couple of edits for incentivization programs to encourage that kind of diversity. I think Lodestar is a fairly new client, and if we had gone back and looked at one of those graphs, they're trying to attract more users, and so there's a few incentivization programs that they're running where if you run Lodestar in the graffiti on your validator up until August, an opportunity there something like $25,000 worth of incentivization going on to anybody that runs that on their node or on their validator. So
nice. Yeah, that's what I love about crypto, the incentives just to use the product because there are no employees. It's all run autonomously.
so that's how they're able to do that. Okay,
Yep.
I didn't know that
We're
either.
creating all these systems that are valuable. You have to pay to use them. So they create money, but they're all automated. So there's no employees.
Hmm.
So that's how the users get all these airdrops because they're just giving it back to everybody that used the platform.
Ah,
And because it's on the blockchain, there's a permanent record and, you know,
they know is eligible for those rewards.
yep.
Cool. Well, This is good. We got a little over a half hour, I think, information in. Who knows how long it's going to be after I edit out all the ums and uhs and downtime, but pretty good, informative little digestible piece of information. I'm glad we were able to coordinate this. It was so much better to do it without any audio hiccups or disruption.
Yeah, that was great. It was feels good. Hopefully, we'll get on a roll now and
Yeah,
have some nice guests and
absolutely.
learn a bunch.
We'll get this out to the interwebs, and so mom and grandma can watch it and hit that thumbs up. And yeah, like we said, we're looking for experts and guests to come and share their knowledge with us and whomever else is so lucky to click on the link. So I'm gonna end the recording with that. What do you think we need to talk about next time? That was a good rundown on diversity. Any thoughts on what the next move might be?
Hmm. No, I don't. I guess there's definitely going to be, crypto is pretty crazy. So there'll be something today or tomorrow, or
That's true.
there'll be something come up.
Yeah, it's like the weather. You don't like what's happening right now, just wait a second. And yeah, well, I'll turn things off for now. You don't have to cut out. We can figure out what do some chalk talk breakdown and figure out what the next moves are. But thanks to any and everyone for watching, and thanks to Crypto for the lesson on diversity today.
Yep.
Until
Thanks, everybody.
yeah, until next time, Crypto Chronicles is signing off for now.
See ya.